Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning. So thrilled to be here. It is Wednesday, and that means it is time for another episode of the Unboring Wedding Show live. I was debating whether or not to even come on here because there's so much going on in the chat. I feel like, am I interrupting? Maybe I should let you have at it and just and just kind of sit here and watch the amazing conversation happening. But I assume you did also show up, not just to enjoy each other's wonderful company, but also to explore this idea about controlling your wedding ceremony script. So, fellow officiant, we need to talk about controlling, sharing, editing your ceremony script with your couple, that delicate balance between those two things. So I want to explore that with you with the careful caveat today that there is no right answer. And that's why I want to really fully kick the tires, walk around both ends of that continuum, you could say, when it comes to sharing your wedding ceremony script. I also want to go down a couple of sidebars about what happens when you share or don't share, of course. And then I'm going to share with you where I have landed after 7, 8 years of doing this as Unboring Wedding, over a decade of officiating. And I might have started one way years ago, years and years ago, and then now I've firmly landed somewhere. But again, there's no right answer, and I want to leave you with a guiding principle so you can decide for yourself as you maybe land somewhere or try some of the different ways. That's an important thing we are going to talk about today, and that's where we're ending up, ideally. Okay, so amazing to see all of you here in the chat. As I stated before, I need to log into this streaming software early so I can see the earliest comments. If somebody comments on YouTube before I log in on this streaming software, I can't actually see. But I think Efficiently Mike was the first one today, and then everyone piled in after that, which is amazing. So good to see you here. There are so many members of Unboring Wedding Academy. So I always love showing up and seeing you again. We just had members only Unboring Wedding, members only office hours yesterday for a full hour. And that's just for members of Unboring Wedding Academy. I always love that. We kind of let our hair down and chat just like this. And I address some things and things we've seen in our private members Facebook group and things like that. And then here you are again today. So many familiar faces and names. And I say faces and names because some of you I have not gotten to meet, even though you're members. Many of you I have gotten to meet in person at places like Wedding MBA in Las Vegas, which just wrapped up a couple weeks ago. All right, that's the last time we're going to say it. But if you are here new, because this is beaming out to the world now, we're streaming live on my public YouTube channel. Say hello if you have a wedding coming up, if you have not officiated before, if you're new. I always say, drop your name, drop where you're from, maybe give us the weather update. I always, that I find that very important to know what the weather is everywhere that you are. When we all give our weather report, we have a full picture of what's happening across North America and sometimes even the world. But then also, wedding stuff. We're here to talk about weddings. Let us know if you have officiated a wedding yet, if you've got one coming up. And ultimately, why this topic might interest you. So let's get some chat going while I talk. I know you're here as much for each other as you are to hear what I might have to say. But so far, there are so many people here and so many comments in the chat that I don't know that I should keep spending 5 or 10 minutes of our life saying hello to specific people. But yes, Ben, you clearly have your bingo card from last week, because every time I say Wedding MBA, you can take a shot That's only twice now, including reading your comment. And that's it. We're not gonna live in the past of all those the wonderful time we had together, the dinner, the chats, getting to know each other. Just go next year if you haven't. That's when we meet each other and hang out, and I absolutely love it. All right, I do see the latest comment. Jane is here in Atlanta, sunny and 50s. Good to see you, Jane. Jane. That's an inside joke, friends, from Wedding MBA. Oh shoot. Which I explained to Kiki as well. So, Kiki, good to see you here. And I'm glad it's sunny and in the 50s where you are. It is cloudy and in the 40s today where I am. You're helping me learn Fahrenheit. I am up in New Brunswick, Canada, I should say, if I'm asking you to give your name and your location. If you're wondering where the heck that is, it is right on the border of Maine and the ocean. So go basically as far east in the United States, northeast as you can go, and then cross the border, and you will accidentally be in the town that I live in. And then look me up, say, and we'll have coffee. Okay. Ruth is here from Kelowna, BC. Kiki finally gets the joke of why I bark Jane's name out, and and I'm glad for that. It's an inside joke, but now you're also on the inside. I did explain this, like I think last year, um, so maybe you can go find that episode if you would like. If you're super curious. Ingrid from Phoenix, amazing. Headed into 70s. Weddings by Ingrid. Good to see you. I do see, is Cantor Mark here? There is a reference to him in the chat by Efficiently Mike. Anne is here. Hello. Sabrina has 3 weddings coming up in December. That's amazing. I wonder if they're going to be holiday themed. Are you going to be asked to wear an ugly sweater, I wonder, or just something very festive? I love Christmas weddings. The Algonquin and St. Andrews typically is a destination for wonderful holiday style weddings, and it's really fun. It's magical when you're doing a wedding, next to Christmas trees or things like that. It's amazing. Okay, so somebody said, "Sorry, I missed you in Vegas." Ron and Jill's adventures. So this is Ron and or Jill, the same way Ralph and Karen are sometimes on together. Count me in for next November. That's great to hear. I will hold you to it. Christopher, you are here from Nevada, California. You're a seasoned officiant, but I got to say, I'm not that familiar with your name. So you're peeking in here today. Love it. Hope you land here more often. Love that you're a seasoned officiant. You're probably curious about what I have to say about sharing the wedding ceremony script. Like I say, there are conversations about this. I don't want to over dramatize it by saying it's controversial, but there are definitely opinions on it in the officiating world, and that's what I want to explore with you, because I want you to make the best decision for yourself, and that's a hint about where I am landing. Man, Jane, you're booking lots of weddings already for fall 25. Yeah, fall is the new summer, right? The last few years, couples seem to be booking fall first. My falls are always booked first, then some spring, and then the summer. But yeah, fall's the popular time. Maybe because like the weather is not as fill in the blank. However, on the East Coast here, it is hurricane season. So I have seen some weddings really messed up by a nor'easter rolling up the East Coast. But couples are always, of course, crossing their fingers. Having an outdoor wedding is risky, but as long as you got a good plan B, a good venue to have the ceremony inside, if something goes awry, then you're good. Efficiently Mike has a wedding coming up on November 30th. That's really coming up. So that's great to hear. You are catching your stride, Mike, and I absolutely love to hear that. I do see now Cantor Mark has entered the building, so to speak. And he's already dropping his very seasoned veteran opinion. I do get approval for every element in the ceremony and explain it in some detail. You're saying here last summer you did share a one time. I'm going backwards on your comments. Not one couple has ever asked me to share the script. Last summer I did share one as a preemptive precaution I like where this is going, Mark, because that's kind of where I'm going. But I just don't want to, drop the whole thing in 60 seconds and then sign off. I got to be here for at least half an hour. So we got to explore. I love that you are sharing in the chat your process. And I am feeling a resonance with what you are saying. Absolutely. Okay. So I'm scrolling up and seeing so many great things. Kiki and Ben sharing a moment about how magnificent Kiki is. That's wonderful. Bonnie's here from Nashville. And if I've missed you, I'm sorry. I just can't go through so many names. Now I'm tuned in. I feel like there are many, many of us who have joined now. A lot of you might be logging in because like later, because the first 10 minutes is fluff. Let's get to the teeth, all right? We have a question here. When can I purchase the new wedding tool? My goodness, we are getting right to it. And San and Javs, it's a long story. People who are members of Unboring, so the new tool you're talking about is Officiantly. It's the brand new, world's first, world's only, world's best wedding ceremony creation and management platform. It's going to automate every step of the wedding ceremony process, specifically the process that I teach, that I follow, that I do with every couple in Unboring Wedding Academy. Up to now in Unboring Wedding Academy, I've been teaching you and sharing templates of, Google Sheets, Google Forms, Google Docs, and you copy those and you customize them. There's a lot of copy and paste and change the names. This platform automates every step of the process. No more copying and pasting. It's incredible. It's going to change everything. And so that's Officiantly. Every member of Unboring Wedding Academy, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, I was going to do this at the end, but because you asked, every member is going to get a free one ceremony try, basically, of Officiantly. You're going to get your free login. You can do your first ceremony on Officiantly, one free ceremony, which whether you've done 100 ceremonies or never done one, you'll get access to that on Friday. We're still madly testing, working out bugs. Software is like that. I wish I could say it was all ready and we're all good, but but we're still madly testing. I was doing it all morning. I'm going to be doing it all afternoon and probably into the evening. But you're all getting it. I'm so happy with where it is. It's incredible. It makes my jaw drop the more we tweak it. So you're going to get your free login if you're a member of Unboring Wedding Academy. And that's why I say if you're not, jump in now, jump in today. I am just putting this in the chat, unboringweddingacademy.com, because Friday you'll get your free member login to Officiantly. Next week, members will get to purchase a lifetime founder deal from Monday to Wednesday. That's where you'll pay once and never again, because Officiantly, like most software, will be an annual license basis. But that founder group who is putting up their hand and saying, I'm in, I want this, I'm along for the ride as it evolves, as it grows, as it inevitably has a few bugs that need to be tweaked. If you are willing and excited to be on that development journey of the first iterations of it, because yes, we have a version 2 plan and a version 3 plan, then come in and purchase Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. After that, it will be available for the annual licensing fee. And then next year, I'm going to completely replace Unboring Wedding Academy's course, the one that you would purchase now with the Google Docs, Google Forms, Google Sheets. I'm going to completely replace it with Officiantly. Okay, so there is more coming for members on Friday. I'll be doing live training Friday, Saturday, and Monday on how to use the platform. Okay, so it's really exciting for members here. So to answer your question, when can you purchase? You can get the Lifetime Founder Members Deal on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. People say, why can't I purchase it now? Because it's literally just not ready now. I'm as excited as you are, but a lot has to happen. When you purchase, it's got to trigger your login. And so a few things have to happen on both sides that we are still creating. And so it'll be ready on Monday, right? I'm going to cross my fingers, touch wood, all that good stuff. Okay. My mind is blown too. I am so excited as I use this. It's amazing to see automated emails go out to the couple because I put in my emails when I'm testing as the couple, and I get the email, and then I click a button, and then they're taken to the form, and then I paste in answers from real weddings, and I click done, and then I go back to the officiant side because I'm wearing two hats. I'm the couple, and then I'm also the officiant. And then their answers are all there. No more copying and pasting. And then you just click Storycast, and then it writes the love story. Okay, it's incredible. I can't wait. And that's all ported into the script. It's going to change everything. It's going to save you hours. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about ask me about other things. Yeah, efficiently, Mike. Mike's on it. I could have just said what Mike said. Jeff, you're going pro soon. We just had a Jeff purchase pro. Was that you or was that another Jeff? Jeff Anderson. Sometimes YouTube names are different. Unboringweddingacademy.com/pro. That's in the video description here as well for the pro course. All right, let's talk about sharing your ceremony script. I'm a very linear thinker. I was trying to flow chart today how I wanted to talk about this, and I always gravitate to, two extremes. I just feel like in life, it feels very philosophical. In life, it's helpful to think about two extremes. And typically, we want to fall somewhere in the middle, but it's good to know how far we can go on both sides. So when it comes to your ceremony script as a wedding officiant, whether it's your first time or whether you've officiated hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of weddings, like we've seen here, we have seasoned officiants in the chat. There are first timers. There are people who have just purchased Unboring Wedding Academy and they're just figuring it out. So you're going to have a decision, and I talk about this in the course, about whether or not after you plan the ceremony, you sit down, you have that planning ceremony session with your couple. I call it the wedding workshop. And then you create the script from that. Or if you have Officiantly, the brand new software, it's going to do it for you, mostly 90%. And I couldn't resist. After you have that script draft, you have a decision now. Some officiants on one side of that spectrum will share the script with the couple and basically say, I want your approval for every single word I say in your wedding ceremony. So here it is. Read it all, please. Add some feedback. Give me your questions. Make some changes. Do all the things you want to the script, because I don't want anything I say to be different than what you want. I don't want anything I do to be a surprise for you. I want you to sign off on everything. I want you to approve everything. So here's the full script. Have at it. Make the changes you want. It's all good. I'll do and say everything you want. Okay, so that's the one side of the spectrum. I got to keep the proper hand. I use this hand, right? My left is your right, I think. And then on the other end of the spectrum is the officiant who has the planning session with the couple and gets all their preferences and everything and says, okay, I will go off and make your script now, and you will not see it. And they decide to essentially control the outcome themselves. And they don't share the script with the couple. They don't want to share the script with the couple. They don't want the couple sharing it with other people. They don't want other planners to see it. They consider it very proprietary, typically. It's my intellectual property, the things I'm going to do and say. I don't want you to nitpick the things that I'm going to say and do. I have your general preferences. I'm going to abide by those. But I don't want you going over, a fine-tooth comb of everything I'm going to say, everything I'm going to do, and the order and all that. I've got this. I'm a professional. I've done this before. And again, this doesn't apply so much to those of you who are on your first time here. And thank you for being here. Because I always try to make content that's relevant to both, Unboring Wedding members who've done this for hundreds of times, or seasoned officiants who are popping in for the first time, or people who have a wedding coming up this Saturday and it's their first time or they just purchased. So this is relevant to everyone. We are all in the same boat of deciding, do we share it with our couple when it's done, and how much to share? So before we get into how much to share, those are the two extremes. You share all of your script with your couple and tell them to make all the edits that they want and that they can, and you will adopt everything. And that includes the love story. So if you are giving any sort of speech in the wedding ceremony, in Academy, of course, we teach how to write the love story, talk about what they love about each other. I give a template, I give a framework for the perfect 10-minute wedding officiant speech. And if you were to create that, you might say, if you're on this other extreme, you're getting the full script, you're getting all the elements, you're getting my introduction to the ceremony, you're getting the outro, you're getting the love story, everything. And then on the other extreme again is I'm going to go off, I'm going to write your script, I will ask you some questions, you will fill out that questionnaire, but you're not going to see my speech, you're not going to see anything at all. The whole thing will be a surprise. Now, I do want to say you're going to find a market, a couple that is interested in both of those extremes. Okay. And this is true of so many things in officiating. That's why I say I can't come on here as some sort of expert and say, here's what you should do. In fact, in most areas of my life, I've tried to strike the word should. There's just no should. As my wife, who I often refer to, once told me, she's a trained psychotherapist, you got to stop shoulding all over yourself, right? The word should is unreasonable most of the time. And especially when it comes to the world of officiating and weddings here, you'll hear, parents of the bride sometimes, well, we should do this, or, at a wedding rehearsal. And I often say in the 2020s where we are now, there's really no more should. Nobody should escort a bride in. The marrier, bride or groom should not come down the aisle and meet the other one at the top of the aisle. There's still that still happens traditionally for the most part, 90% of the weddings, but there is no should. The couple should not have a wedding party or that kind of thing. They might want to, that's great. So it's similar here, where should you share the script or should you not share the script? Well, you're going to attract a different kind of couple. I was talking to an officiant earlier this week who said they know of another officiant, who's hugely popular. I think in Australia, he said. And this celebrant just wings it, just asks the couple some questions, I assume, doesn't write anything down ever, just gets up there and just sees what they recall, what comes out of their mouth. And obviously that kind of couple is interested in that kind of experience. They love that. They're going to stand there and hold hands and see what this officiant comes up with on the spot. The officiant does not have any notes, any script, and apparently just lets whatever happen. That's really interesting. That's really cool that the celebrant can do that. That celebrant has found their person, their customer. But we are not even talking about that today because I can't even conceive of that. I would never attempt that in my life. And especially if you're a first timer, and that to me is primarily what Unboring Wedding Academy and my style and my system is aimed at. It is to be applicable, friendly, usable, followable, A, B, C, D, all the way to Z, Canadian Z for my American friends, for anybody, for the first timer or somebody like me who could never imagine doing that anyway. So we are talking about the script extremes here. And I will say, again, you're going to find the couple who wants to see every single word and demands it. And you're going to find the couple who is totally fine with not seeing anything. Just like, okay, do your thing and we'll get up there and see what you do. Okay. Now, I teach in Unboring Wedding Academy to first timers the best middle ground that I think of. But here's a little sidebar before I get to what I do and what I talk about. And many of you who are in the course know this. I want my sidebar would be how frustrated. I was talking to an officiant who shared this with me. How frustrated are you going to be, or are you, if you do this already, when you share the script with the couple? Because they want to see it or because it's part of your practice and you feel better when you do. How frustrated are you when they really do get in there and change things around? they tweak. I don't like this. I don't want you to do opening remark. I can't tell you how many coaching calls I have, because I do have a wham bam kind of procrastinator service that I offer, unboringweddingacademy.com/coaching. I call it my quick help package. It's not the course. So it's folks who have a wedding like in 2 days. They need a phone call. They need a script. They just, oh my gosh, they know they've left it at the last minute. So I provide a service for those folks. And I often get on the phone. They send me their script, although I do send them my script first and say, try to adapt to this. But their couple, they've told me, their couple has said, we don't want any opening remarks. We don't want any of this. We don't want you to give closing remarks before we head out. And so the couple is making really choices that don't work as well, I would say. Everything that I do and teach in my script has a rationale honed over, the several hundred ceremonies I've done over the years. Oh, this works absolutely best. So, how are you going to feel when a couple gets in there and says, don't do this, don't do that, don't say this, don't say that? And man, when I do this and when I do that, it is the best. Like this is the best thing to do. I always say my silver bullet magic recipe ingredient is those opening remarks. You get up there before the ceremony even starts and you warm up the guests. These are people who are going to be singing, dancing, going crazy at the reception. And so I always say we need to start that energy now. And especially if you're telling a great love story, you don't want a dry, quiet fishbowl, the guests kind of sitting there all tense. And so you get up there, and that's where I say, good afternoon, everyone. Nobody says anything in response. They say, okay, I don't know if you've noticed, but we have this whole place to ourselves. We can be as rowdy as we want today. So good afternoon, everyone. And right away, people go, good afternoon. They're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I've talked about this many times. But right now, I'm using it as an example of, in the script, a couple might see that and be like, it's not translating. We don't really want that. How are you going to feel if you just kind of put that in there and then they kind of flick it off the table and say, nope, and other things that work really well? Nope, nope. When the couple's in front of you holding hands, I always say, well, here they are. Jason and Megan are finally here today to get married, and they're perfect for each other. Can I get an amen? And everybody shouts amen, and it's a beautiful, fun moment. You might have a couple that might say, like, we don't like that. And they off the table it goes. I'm doing this flicking. I don't know why, but they're gone. That is a frustrating experience for seasoned officiants and for first timers who I assure them these things unlock a great ceremony experience. And so I know it's frustrating if you share your script with a couple and they see that and they don't want it. The way that I would advise kind of heading this off at the pass, to use a Western expression, is in the workshop. And this is why a well-run workshop is so crucial. You're going to describe to your couple everything you're going to do. And so in the workshop, when we crack our knuckles and we open up our spreadsheet, or Officiantly, starting next week for members, you would say, okay, let's start at the beginning. So you do all your pre-ceremony checks and things, but then you say, I'm going to get up there and I'm going to deliver some opening remarks. And you describe to them. You're describing to them, but you're also kind of selling them the vision, because on paper, sometimes it doesn't look very good. And especially if a couple has been looking at stock wedding scripts online, you're never going to see this. If they're downloading scripts or looking at scripts from some of those popular wedding script websites that basically hand you a fish and don't teach you how to fish, brides and grooms are very susceptible to that kind of thing. And they might say, what are you doing here? Why are you engaging the guests? No, don't do that. Why are you saying here they are to get married? They're perfect. Can I get an amen? No. They think that what is acceptable in the wedding sphere is not breaking the fourth wall and that very serious traditional. Trust me, people don't want that when they see it. I'm very Steve Jobsian about this. The famous Steve Jobs quote at Apple. He said, customers don't know what they want until you show it to them, which can lead to absolute business demise in one sense. But when you know something really well, you really need to explain it and sell it sometimes. And for me, this couple uh, doesn't, if they've never been married before, they're not a ceremony expert. Whether it's your first time, take it from ceremony experts like myself and others in the chat. This really works. And so I think you need to advise your couple. When you share the script with your couple, this is part of the sidebar that I was saying. When you share the script with your couple, it's best to advise them on what works and why things are in there the way they are. I think when you explain the why, it's really, really helpful, whether you're in business or in politics or in parenting. Explain the why. We have this paradigm of, ask for forgiveness, not permission. Just do the thing. And then if it doesn't go well, say, oops, I'm sorry. But I think even better than that is explaining the why to your couple, and the workshop is the crucial and best time to do that. So I'm going to give opening remarks, for example. What this is going to do, it's going to create a great wedding crowd. Your guests are going to get excited. You're going to be at the back. You're going to hear the cheers. Now, sometimes I'll be up there with a wedding party. Sometimes I might be up there with one of the marriers. And this is what you start working out in the workshop. Who's going to be up there with me? Marrier, are you going to be here? Sam, are you going to be up there with me? Alex, are you waiting at the back? Am I up there with the wedding party? All that stuff. I teach that in an Unboring Wedding Academy, and that's a conversation for another time. But sharing the script means that your couple will start to nitpick a little, and they might not like what they see on paper. And this is where you can, like I said, head that off at the pass by having a really great explanatory wedding workshop and say, I'm going to do this, and here's why. I'm going to do this, and here's why, and you'll see it. Even when you say, after the processional is done, flowers handed off, you're standing in front of me, and I'm going to say, here they are to get married. They're perfect for each other. Can I get an amen? Amen. Then I'm going to tell your story. Great. I'm going to send you a questionnaire for that. Then we're going to get into the elements. So do you see how you're kind of quickly describing in the workshop things you're going to do? So it's not so that when they see it in the script, it's not the very first time they're seeing it, including the closing. I can't tell you how many couples, particularly for coaching clients, see the closing remarks before they're pronounced at the end, or presented rather. I should not get this mixed up by now after all these years. So you pronounce the couple, then in Canada we go sign. Then when they come back, if there's a signing, it's fine. You pronounce them, they kiss, everybody cheers, they turn, and you give closing remarks there with the couple up there. They're looking at the guests are looking back, the tension is mounting, the anticipation, the excitement, and then you get everybody on their feet and you say, I present to you for the very first time, Sam and Alex's husband and wife, and then everybody cheers. But a lot of couples see that on paper. Like I say, coaching officiant clients, their couple, they say, my couple saw this and said, no, put the closing remarks, the announcements at the end after we go up the aisle. It's just not good. And I've made a YouTube video called The Grand Finale, how to end the ceremony with a grand finale. Years and years and years of testing this and practicing it. And you just got to trust me on that. So we have to advise our couple, and we have to prepare them for what they're going to see on paper on the screen when they're vetting, approving their script. And like I say, the best time to do that is with a well-run wedding workshop. Okay, so there's that aspect. The other extreme, like I say, is if it really bothers you that the couple's going to get in there and you're going to have to advise them like this and nitpick and all that stuff, then maybe you are the kind of the officiant that says, let's have a workshop. I want to find out everything, but you're not going to see your script. Okay. And I don't advise this with first timers. For example, if you're a first timer, your couple has typically trusted you. You're an uncle, you're an aunt, you're a cousin, you're a buddy, or something like that. And the couple has some trepidation around whether or not you're going to actually crush this, because TikTok is full of terrible officiant video, right? And they love you, they chose you, maybe they wanted to save some money and not hire a pro. But if you purchase Unboring Wedding Academy, we know you're going to smash it, crush it. Todd, you just left an amazing review this morning about how you, as a first timer, absolutely nailed it with this training. There is a style and a system where I can guarantee the outcome. It's Unboring Wedding Academy. But your couple, I think, needs that assurance. And everything about my style and system is building your own confidence. Oh my gosh, I'm going to crush this. And so that your couple also knows, oh my gosh, we don't have to worry about this. our officiant is going to crush this. She's incredible. She shared her script. We know what she's going to say. The questionnaire came. We know what she's going to write. And so you might be a seasoned officiant that says, I don't like when the couple tweaks and gets their fingers in the pie and doesn't know what they're doing and makes suggestions that I think are going to be a disaster. If that's going to drive you nuts, then now we can talk more about the middle. You might want to share the generalities of your script, but hide, quote unquote, the parts where you say, "Here they are to get married. They're perfect for each other. Can I get an amen? Cheer, cheer." You might want to just keep it really generic in your script, like speech introduction, and then give the speech or the other elements or opening remarks. You might just want to say, "Officiant gives some opening remarks." Keep it really generic in the script. Again, this is how you're wired. Is it going to bug you? Do you feel like you should be more in control of the script? No wrong answer. Okay. No, this is about you. And so consider that. Uh, consider what your couple needs. Consider what you need, and act accordingly. Now I can tell you kind of where I have landed in this style and system, and the reason why. If you're a member of Unboring Wedding Academy, you know, and maybe you have decided to go a different direction, which is, again, totally fine. There's no should here. But years and years ago, I think I was mortified by the idea that a couple saw something, heard something, I did something in their ceremony that they didn't want. I was advised early on to share the entire script, speech, and everything with the couple, and so that was an option. But just being a public speaker my whole life, I realized that I always structure public speaking around a question. A lot of people have asked me, how do you structure your speeches? Like, they seem so, why are we so engaged the whole time? It's because I raise a problem or an issue early in the talk, in the first few minutes, and I don't answer that until the last minute or two. That is what keeps you listening. That is what makes it feel like a story. That's a whole different conversation for another time. But I realized I don't want to give a speech in the wedding ceremony that the couple has already seen. They already know what I'm going to say. Just for me, I want that excitement. I want them to feel excited about what I'm going to say, and I want to feel excited delivering it. I don't want them to feel like, yeah, we know exactly what he's going to say. That comes with the risk, again, of the couple not liking your speech. And so if you feel nervous about that, I've talked to many officiants who say, professional officiants, for instance, officiants who are doing really well and they're really successful, they say, I share everything with the couple. I started my officiating career with Young, Hip, and Married, a great company out in Vancouver. Sean and Erica, the owners, they're incredible. And they advise, and they still do, as wedding officiants, share the entire script, share the entire speech. I opted not to do that from the very beginning. I find the couples more engaged, and I say this in my Unboring Wedding Academy training. They're listening to you. They're laughing. Their reactions are so huge, like the pictures behind me, because the way that you've turned a phrase or the way you're gently teasing one or pointing out some absurdity of their first date that they shared with you. You're not making things up. It's all in how you say it. And of course, the guests react to how they are reacting. And it's this kind of loop of you're enjoying watching the couple react to what you're saying. The guests are enjoying watching the couple react to what you're saying. The couple are reacting to what you're saying. And I never want to lose that. So I tell the couple in the workshop, I'm going to send you a questionnaire. First, I'm going to send you a script. You're going to see everything in the script except the speech. And so when I share with them the script, it just basically says that intro, and I do include, here they are to get married, they're perfect for each other. Can I get an amen? That is in there. If you started to see couples kiboshing that and that frustrated you, again, you might want to say speech introduction or something like that. Keep it generic if you're more on the ask for forgiveness, not permission, persuasion. Again, sometimes couples will see something that they think won't work on paper, like the closing remarks right before the presentation, but it does work. And so I've had couples reach out to me when they see something in the script and say, we got concerns about this, we got questions about this. And this is where we become advisors and just say, oh, trust me, this works, and explain to them why. Why the opening remarks? Because it breaks the fourth wall, it draws your guests in, it makes them feel a part of the process, not like they're watching something happen on front. And the emotions, the endorphins are going to be so much higher. A couple will say, oh, yeah, great. If a couple says, we'd really like to see the whole script, please. This is where you advise them. Absolutely, that's your right. You can do that, and I understand. But I want you to think about, if you trust me to write a really tasteful and fun story and you're hearing it for the first time with your guests, it's going to be electric. It's going to be so much more magical than if you see it and read it beforehand. And they will often say, please, will they I shouldn't say they will say one thing or the other. Please, we'd like to see it anyway, or oh no, you're right. You're right. We don't want to see it. Any Like Cantor Mark said earlier, uh, and I've completely lost touch with the chat here, so I will get to your questions in a couple minutes. But like Cantor Mark said, it's happened maybe once where he shared the script, I on the story, and he did it for reasons, as I was hinting earlier. He did it for preventative reasons. Obviously, Cantor Mark, a seasoned pro who I know very well, is the top of the craft. He felt this couple might be finicky, or we could ask him his reasons. He can pop them in the chat if he'd like. But there was a little bell in his head that said, I never do this. This might be my only time ever doing it, but this couple really needs to see this. And that was probably a smart instinct. So I always say to the couple, you may see the whole thing. You may make any changes you want. But when they start making changes that I know will dampen the experience that I know can exist, then I will gently push back. A lot of time they'll say, okay, you're right. You're absolutely right. Ones that have said, we'd like to see the script, please. The story, rather, they see the script. The story, I say, it's so much better when you hear it for the first time and they say, oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like I say, you're going to get couples that need to see every word, and you're going to see couples that are fine with somebody winging it, didn't even write a script. They're all out there for you, okay? And that's the great thing about being a wedding officiant, especially if you're a pro. If you're a first timer, you want to just nail that first one and be everything your couple wants you to be. But if you're a pro, there's elopements out there. There's themed weddings. There's costume weddings. There's show me everything you've got. Go ahead, wing it. And there's officiants of all kinds. And that's because there's so many different kinds of people and so many different kinds of couples, and it's a great thing to be. So find your person. That's what I advise, is share the script with your couple, all the elements, everything you're going to say except the story. In the script, they get to that part and it just says, your story goes here, writing in progress. That's it. That's all they're going to see until the wedding day. If your couple says, we really want to see it, you give them a little pushback. It's going to be so much more electric and magical. If you don't see it, they might say, we need to see it. We're just a bit too paranoid. A lot of time they're apologetic. In that case, friends, this is where my number one guiding principle kicks in about weddings in general. Say it with me now. It's their wedding ceremony, not yours. Okay. So sometimes we might want to shine as a wedding officiant. We know what's best. For example, closing remarks between the pronouncement and the presentation. I know that that's the grand finale. That's the best way to finish. But if a couple absolutely refused to allow that and said, make the closing remarks after we go up the aisle when the music's playing and you're trying to shout out over it and everybody's leaving, I would just shake my head and say, all right, I've advised you why that doesn't work, why that's not going to be as good. But if for some reason they persist and insist, I consider myself to be under contract with them. Again, essentially the same way I'm creating this efficiently software. I don't know how to write the code. I don't know how to do all the technical stuff, but I am in full control of creating efficiently as the expert, as the officiant, as the person who's paying them to do it. If they started saying, well, we don't think this works, we'd like to see this, we're going to do this instead, I would be horrified, because they're working for me. Now, they're doing a thing that I can't do, but I'm paying them for this service. It's essentially mine. Like it's proprietarily mine, and I know what I want. Uh, this is true of many, many things. That was just one analogy. I think we need to see ourselves that way. It's their wedding ceremony, it's their wedding day. And so, to be honest, anything that you do that you know in the ceremony is not as great, most guests will not even give it a second thought. Like for me, I don't like the "who gives this woman" question, but if the couple says we want "who gives this woman," I'm not going to refuse that. Again, some of you fall in different areas. You say, well, no, that's too patriarchal, or I refuse to say that. But for me, I'm all about just this philosophy of it's their wedding. I'm going to do what they want. Now, we did a live last year about ethical things, and there's obviously a small asterisk and a caveat for everything. Uh, you don't want anybody getting hurt or offended or do anything really gross or discriminatory in a ceremony. That's not in the real world. It's not likely going to come up, although some of you may have stories. But for things that are not ideal, I have that little caveat where, for example, I say in the ceremony, the couple have asked me to blah, blah. And that's kind of a wink to the audience members who might be paying attention that this was not my idea. If it's something, if it's for who gives this woman, I might say, Doug, Dad, Sam would like me to ask you who gives this woman, that kind of thing where I don't love this, but I'm doing it. and I'm not going to make it very ostentatious, make a big show of it. But sometimes I am, like you, like many of you, worried that when I do something that I don't think is best in the ceremony, it might reflect on me. I can assure you, you're going to survive doing something that you don't think is absolutely best in the ceremony. It's going to be okay. No one will judge you on that, especially if you tell a great love story. That's why I really put all of the marbles into that basket basket of marbles. I think I'm combining euphemisms there, but telling a love story is what's going to wow everybody, give them the experience. People are going to remember how they felt in the ceremony. They're not going to be nitpicking every little thing you do. So go ahead and do what your couple wants, I would say. Whether that's don't show us the script. If that's you, I don't want to show you the script. I want to wing it. And you find your couple, then you've got it made. You've got a whole business model there. For others, if your couple, if my default is I'm going to show you my whole script. I want you to change and order things. If you change something that I think is critical, I will advise you and I will recommend that we not change it, and I'll make a case. If you persist, I will then acquiesce to what you want, but I'm not going to show you the story. Oh, you really want to see the story? Again, it's never happened to me, thankfully. But okay, then I'll show you the story. But just know that when you read it ahead of time, it won't be as great for you. But your guests are going to have a great time. And the wedding planner, and that's the person who you really want to get in with anyway, is going to say, that was freaking incredible. But remember, it's their ceremony. You're just serving them. And so that's my overarching wedding officiant principle. But for today, kind of the true north, I would say, decide and realize what you need as an officiant. Do you need full control over your script? Does it bother you to no end? Does it just make you go insane when your couple gets in there and starts changing things and nitpicking? If it does, you're not going to be long for this officiating world if that's the model you choose. So maybe you are the kind of officiant who says, I don't even write your script. I'm going to just get up there and wing it. I know the vow stuff off the top of my head, blah, blah, blah. You'll find your person. Might take longer, might be a bit of a challenge, but if that's your wiring, or if you kind of want to clown it up a bit more, you're going to find your person. If you need your couple, and this most people who say, I'm going to share the full script, story, and everything. If you feel too much anxiety that they might take issue with something you're going to say, you're worried about backlash after the ceremony, then share it. Like, for your own peace of mind and your own mental health, just say, I'm going to share it all with you. You can even say, I'll share with you the story in a separate document. You can read it if you want. You can not read it if you don't want. But if you need to know that you've sent it to them, then do that. So weigh your own needs as the officiant, as the person who's providing the service, and then weigh the needs of your couple. Like I say, your couple will want maybe to see the full script. Maybe they'll want to read the story. That's where the real balance lies. What do you need? What do they need? Make sure you meet in the middle. But again, the overarching principle of it's their wedding, that is going to trump your needs sometimes, as long as you've properly gone through the process of advising them well. Okay? And scene. What's going on in the chat? I see people are still here. I'm going to take a drink. Any questions for me? There's no way I can catch up on the amazing conversations happening. But now I'm going to look at the chat. If I've missed your question, if you've asked a question, I can guarantee I've missed it. So put it in now, okay? Because I just can't scroll all the way up. You guys are having amazing conversations. And I said it. Oh no, get your shot glasses ready. I said it at Wedding MBA in Vegas at our Unboring Wedding Academy members dinner. I said, this has been the realization of a dream, getting all of you in a room, because I'm not just selling a course. I wanted to build an efficient community of like-minded people who are elites. And being elite doesn't mean you've done hundreds of wedding ceremonies and charged thousands of dollars. It means you so care about the ceremony process for your couple that you invested in a course, you've invested in training, you've invested your time, you are in the Facebook community, maybe just lurking, but you are investing that time and that energy and that money. To me, that makes you elite. And then especially when you start officiating, getting amazing reviews. And so that was the realization of a dream. But also, what's going on here in the chat when people pop in here early and say hello to each other, and you're sharing wisdom and knowledge. I absolutely love that. Okay. Norman says, good presentation. Okay, good. Cecilia says, do you find there are generational differences in what the couples reject? Gen Z couples are very prescriptive in what the officiant says. That's interesting. I have not. And essentially, I don't know what it is. In Toronto, in New Brunswick, my couples have been so, I don't know if it's trusting. I don't know if it's because of something I'm putting out there. I think because before I book a couple, the chem check, which I talked about at just so Wedding MBA. That was my okay. Take another shot. This 4 times, I think. The chem check is so crucial. I talk about it in Unboring Wedding Pro, the Pro course, because that's essentially your pitch session. So when I sit down with a couple for the first time, I describe to them the ceremony. I give opening remarks. I get everybody warmed up, and then I tell your story. Da 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 da. So most couples who pick me, hire me, know what they're getting. Then in the workshop, we do it again. I basically, as I told you, we're working on the ceremony now. We're cracking our knuckles, but we are. I'm describing the opening remarks. I'm describing how they're going to get in front of me, and I'm going to get everybody clapping and excited and blah blah. And at the end, I present to you the very first time. I describe to them. I'm going to give the closing remarks before the pronouncement, and here's what presentation rather, between the pronouncement and presentation, and they're on board. So I get like virtually no changes, and so I don't know if you're frustrated or seeing a lot of changes. Maybe you need to adopt that. Maybe it's best to adopt that where you are describing the full process in your chemistry check before the couple has hired you. Then they say, yes, take our money. And now you're hired. And then you basically do it again in the workshop so that by the time they get that script, again, they've heard it. They've heard it twice. They know your process. Um, and, and that is a good time, like I say, to say to them, I'm not going to show you the story. Tell them in person in the workshop, unless you insist. But in my case, I always say no couple is asked to see the story. It goes so much better. And they say, yeah, absolutely. I'm not seeing a difference. I'm not the right person to ask, Cecilia. It's a great question because, like I say, for some reason, my couples, whether they're in their 50s and it's a second or third wedding, or whether they're in their 20s, they don't hardly change it at all. In fact, sometimes I'm frustrated, speaking of officiant frustrations, when I go to the rehearsal, and this is a whole other maybe Unboring Wedding show live. I show up at the rehearsal and I always call the couple aside first. I say, before we start the rehearsal, can we just go over some confirmations here on the script? And I can tell that they have not at all, they have not read the script. they haven't given a second thought after their wedding workshop. So sometimes I'm like, remember this 6 weeks ago? And that's why I confirm it. That's the other extreme to me, where they care so little about the script that they haven't even checked in on it. That will happen as well. But the quick answer to your question is no. I have not noticed a generational difference. It's interesting. I would be so interested. I think that's a great question. If some of you would chime in on that. Let's see. How do you handle a vendor who wants you to add something to your script? Oh, Kiki, that's a great question. I did plan on addressing that. This is what I was saying about some officiants being very proprietary about their scripts. I've seen and heard some officiants say, "I will absolutely not share my script with anyone at all." And I've said before, I don't care, because the real secret sauce of all my wedding ceremonies is my opening remarks, where I'm connecting with the guests emotionally, and the love story, which is going to be different every single time for every single couple. So in terms of like the wording, I've never spent a lot of time, really working on flowery, elaborate language between the elements or for the elements. Like vows, we're just going to get it done. Rings, we're just going to get it done. The real magic of my typical 25-minute classic wedding ceremony is the love story. So I freely share that with the planner. I tell the couple to share it. Now, I know your question is about add something to the script, and that I probably wouldn't like. I've had planners who, don't know me yet earlier in my career. They assume, most planners think you don't know what you're doing as a wedding officiant. Again, because they've worked with so many bad wedding officiants. So I do have some time a day for those folks, but you want to immediately show them that you know what you're doing. I'm getting so many ideas for more topics here for the show. I would not take kindly to a planner adding something personally, because why? What did I say? The overarching principle for officiating weddings is it's the couple's ceremony, and the wedding workshop is where we dug in and left no stone unturned. That's what I tell the couple. That what the heck would a planner have to add, even, unless they did it in consultation with the couple. But the workshop, that 1 hour with the couple, where we go through the spreadsheet, or efficiently in this case, I can't not, right? Every detail is there. Every question, everything that might, could, will happen in the ceremony, you've already gone over it, and they've already chosen. So if the planner says to me, "Oh, I had a quick meeting with Sam and Alex a week ago and we just tweaked something," I'd be like, okay. But if a planner added something that they thought should be in the ceremony that's completely outside of the couple's preferences, uh, heck no, I would say. Or I would say, "Thank you for that suggestion. Again, take on your advisor role with the planner. That won't work. Here's why." But the planner does not have any right to add something when you have that philosophy. It's actually Sam and Alex's ceremony. I'm facilitating it. I am serving them. They've hired me. I would want to know some of the rationale. So here you are getting more specific, Kiki. A photographer asked you to add in corralling family members for photos at the last minute. Literally, we were getting ready to line up. Oh, that's interesting. In the closing remarks, this is interesting. That to me is easy, because in the closing remarks, I always say, and you know this because you're a member, what the couple are doing and what the guests are doing. So I've got space for those kinds of last minute changes. And to me, you're going to get such cred with the photographer that it's okay. If you're talking about adding a totally different element that a planner needs to see. So in your case, if the photographer says, "Oh, if you're lining with the back, can we corral family?" Again, I would immediately want to confirm with the bride. And yeah, that's not convenient. That's not going to happen very often. I would say, "Wow, really now?" I wouldn't say that. I would think it. But I would say, "Okay, I'll just go confirm then." Typically, if you're lining up, the brides, the grooms, the bride and groom, whatever, the couple, the marriers are right there, and you can just confirm that with them. But I don't have a problem with that. Sometimes I forget. I have been told, "Can you say this? Can you say that?" Really last minute, and I just forget. So you can say, "Okay, at the end, I always say what the couple are doing and what the guests are doing. So really corralling family and friends. At the very end, I will say Sam and Alex are heading out briefly for photos with family. They will rejoin us. And that would trigger my memory there in that case to say, and photographer Emily has asked that family be prepared for her to kind of round you up. And I often make a joke. I say, I assume if you're family, you do know that already. You can take that if you'd like. It always gets a laugh. And sometimes I say, this will be a very strange time to find out that you're family. I understand that. It's always a winner. But that to me, you can either say that when the friends and family, when you're saying what the couple are doing, they're taking photos. Oh, by the way, if you're family, be prepared for Emily to ask you over there. So head over there. Or what the guests are doing. So you have another shot at it there. We say, guests, you're invited to the barn. It's cocktail hour. You'll find champagne. You'll find some hors d'oeuvres. The reception is at 5. We just ask if you're immediate family, please follow the photographer. So there's times where it'll be very conducive and easy to doing that, and other elements that you're going to be like, I can't add that now, or like I say, a planner who 2 weeks before said, I really want to see this X thing, and there needs to be shots in every single ceremony. I would say, wait, this is not. Uh, we've already gone over. We've already planned. You'd cross check every decision with your couple. I hope that. Okay, so now you're saying we had discussed it. She said she was going to do candid shots only, so they didn't need it based on how she presented herself. She said she was going to. That's interesting. So yeah, I don't know. I would accommodate that if it's easy and if the couple wanted it. I understand that it's very inconvenient, but wedding vendors are people that we want to please, not in a people pleasing kind of way, but vendors are the hottest leads, right? And so I try to be as there's so much territorial battling going on at weddings, I find that, if you're an accommodating officiant, vendors are going to love you. Not a doormat, but accommodating where you can be. Know where your boundaries are. And sometimes I have forgotten, like I say, and I'll go up and I'll say, I'm so sorry. I had every intention of saying that thing, but it was just such a last minute add on. I'm sorry. So the more accommodating and gracious you can be to fellow wedding vendors on the wedding day is great. Hopefully that made sense. Why am I seeing the number 11, the number 12? I see 9 likes. Oh, likes. Thanks for pulling out the likes. I appreciate that. Hopefully that worked, and that was a good answer. Just scrolling back up here before I got to Kiki and Cecilia's question. Oh, Ruth says, "Will we have access to the Love Story Caster if we opt out of Efficiently?" Yes. So if you opt out of Efficiently, so you're saying you're going to get your free ceremony uh, inefficiently, the freemium version. But if you decide not to purchase efficiently the platform, yes, the Love Story Caster as it exists right now is not disappearing. Um, there is a challenge of a year from now, 2 years from now, propping up this older technology. I've got to make decisions around that, or allocating some resources personally to keeping that version of the Love Story Caster alive on that separate area where you manually paste in and things like that. It means that obviously Efficiently is going to be my priority, but I can guarantee for the next foreseeable future, there's no plans to discontinue the Love Story Caster. When you're a member and your couples send you their love story responses in the form, again, if you opt out of Efficiently, you're going to keep doing it the old way with your Google Forms. You're going to send the couple a Google form. You're going to take the answers. You're going to paste it into the Love Story Caster, and you'll click Storycast, and you'll get it emailed to you. Again, as I described this process now, it just seems so arduous, but it is what we have until Efficiently comes out. But I'm not taking that away. Okay, I just want you to know that. As everything in life, I can't guarantee it'll continue in perpetuity. At least for another year or two, you will have access to Efficiently. Okay. the old way, for sure. I'm not pulling the rug out from under you. Okay. So thank you for asking. I know that is a concern. You won't be forced to purchase efficiently. That said, when I change the course so that essentially the whole course training of Unboring Wedding Academy wraps around the love story efficiently, um, then everybody will get their first ceremony, unlimited uses for that ceremony on efficiently, right? So that will be very helpful to them. They'll be able to use efficiently for that ceremony. But those of you who I understand, I understand that you say, "Well, I purchased Academy with the love story caster inside it so that I could use it." Yes, absolutely. I will continue to make that available so that you can use it for your ceremonies, even if you opt out of efficiently. But I can't understand why you would opt out of efficiently. Because it's $200 a year. I get that. And so for sure, we'll continue to make that available. Thank you for that question. I appreciate that. And again, uh, for members, we are going to have live training on Friday at 12 Eastern, and on Saturday at 12 Eastern, and on Monday at 12 Eastern. So show up to those sessions as members with these questions. We're going to kick the tires. We're going to maybe find a few more bugs with this brand new software. You're going to see the amazing things it can do. I'm working feverishly with my South African team right now. The coding, the tweaking, this doesn't work the way we want. They're working around the clock. And we will continue to, even after launch. Like I've said before, I said it yesterday in members' office hours, software is never done. Think about, I think Mike yesterday, efficiently Mike said, like, think about iOS updates. Think about the first version of your iOS, your iPhone or whatever, what it did then versus what it does now, right? We are going to get it to the point where it is space aged because I want to create the absolute very best wedding officiant creation and management platform that can be. I joked yesterday in an email to you that, of course, we can say it's the best when it's the only one, but it really is the best as well. And I want to continue to make it the very best we can imagine. Okay. Uh, so I know we've gone over an hour, which typically does not happen. And so thank you. There's some great conversations happening. I am going to, oh, Mark, are the 3 trainings different? No, I'm not going to do the same thing over and over again. Again, you're going to get an email. You're going to get emails explaining all of this tomorrow, but it's going to be 3 separate trainings. I do think it's going to take about 3 hours to show you sufficiently how to do the new software. I don't need to teach you how to officiate, but I need to teach you how to use the software. You already know the style and system that I teach, that I use if you're a member. That's what's so great about it. And that's why I'm not rolling it out to brand new people to purchase, because that training would be, here's how to do a wedding and use the software. I'm just rolling it out to members. So if you want this software, you need to purchase before like Thursday midnight, because we're going to roll it out on Friday to just members. I want to just teach you how to use the software, and it will be recorded. So essentially, it's going to be your efficiently training manual, but I want to do it live with screenshots and show you how to do it. So that's another good question. Thank you for that. Okay. Are we good? And not that I want to rush off, but I'm always thinking about how you are looking at this, saying, "Oh my gosh, how long is this going to be?" As with the live training, Cantor Mark, it will be recorded. This will be recorded, so catch it on the replay if you want to see it again, or if you popped in late. Thank you very much. If you want to become a member of Unboring Wedding Academy, go to unboringweddingacademy.com. And like I say, if you come in before Thursday night, if you happen to be watching this live or catch this on the replay tomorrow, you will get your free login to Efficiently for your single ceremony use, and you'll be a part of the offer to pay once and use it for life. That will be next week. All that good stuff is coming your way if you're a member. And so many of you are in the chat. I can't wait to really get down in the trenches with you starting on Friday and show you what this amazing new software can do. I'm super excited as we continue to work out the kinks and the bugs and the idiosyncrasies and make it absolutely perfect. Until then, happy Thanksgiving to my American friends, Canadians. We had this like a month ago. But tomorrow is turkey and football for those who observe and celebrate. So happy Thanksgiving. And that's why I didn't start tomorrow because the training is so important, I don't want you to be choosing between family and food and celebrations and relaxing and think, I got to take a training course on new software. That's why I just pushed it to Friday. So hopefully you can show up or watch the replay without thinking about that. Tomorrow, just enjoy a break. It is well deserved. Okay. Happy Thanksgiving. Yes, I will send emails. How do you purchase? You will not be able to miss it. You will get emails if you're on the email list. Yes, Mike, thank you. You're on every detail. Hey, Marnie, good to see you. You will get emails. The training, it will be recorded. I think we've covered it. Have a great day, everyone. I get sentimental every time. You have made this super special. I wake up on Wednesdays, any day where I'm going live, and I can't wait to get on here with you. Thank you for making this so amazing for me as well. I hope I can give you back a fraction of the joy you give me. All right. Have a wonderful day, friends. And I will see you Friday, if you're a member, next Wednesday on Unboring Wedding Show Live for everyone else, including members. So have a good one. Thanks, friends. And marry on. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.